Okay, we're rolling with video 2. So this one is titled Trust Your Inner Guide. And what do I mean by that? I mean, especially now where information is disseminated so quickly, so rapidly, it's vitally important that your first port of call or your first sounding board is your inner guide. So to build off what I said in the previous video as well, how as humans we are energy systems. That's what we are. We're not just meat and flesh and bone and blood. We are energy systems. We draw energy from the natural world, which vitalizes us, replenishes us, and we're able to consciously direct that in different areas of our life, and live a full life. Now, in today's society, where information and content can be shared instantaneously and rapidly, what we're seeing is a lot of people coming online and telling you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, that you should wake up at 4 a.m, that you should wake up at 10 a.m, that you should drink coffee in the morning, that you should never drink coffee, that you should pray, that you should never pray, that you should follow this, that you should follow that. So it can be quite confusing and quite overwhelming, and it's leading to what I believe to be people becoming almost more lost than found, or they're more lost from their soul's path of growth and creative expansion, joyous expansion. They're actually walking down blind alleys. They're spending their time and energy doing futile things that have no contribution, or draining their energy. And what's interesting is there's no shortage of people out there telling you what to do or what not to do. And it's ironic that I'm on a video telling you to trust your inner guide. The difference might be here that you don't necessarily have to listen to a word I say. You have to just, with a lot of this information that's shared through me or through other people, there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking it in for enjoyment, for learning, for understanding, but you use your inner guide as a sounding board, and you always come back to what resonates, what doesn't resonate. And so what do I mean by the inner guide? I don't mean your thinking mind. I don't mean thoughts. I don't mean thinking about a situation. It's more a feeling, an intuition, a download, a very subtle signal that doesn't really come in the form of words. It's just something that compels you to act a certain way. And I think the most obvious example of this would be, and a lot of people refer to it as their gut, or maybe they place it in their stomach, their gut. I think it's a bit more holistic than that. It's just a full body feeling. But a good example is you might be at a party and you've been having a few shots, you've been drinking beers, whatever the case may be, and it gets to like 1 a.m. and nothing really good happens after 1 a.m. Really, let's be frank. But this particular party, there might be things that you're not aware of consciously. It's not that obvious, but you're picking up on the energy in the room, that it might turn a certain way. Maybe there's a group in the corner that are starting to get into a disagreement, or maybe certain paraphernalia is coming out, or who knows, whatever. But you get this feeling, you get this sense that it's like, okay, it's time to go home now. And even, it doesn't matter whether you've been drinking, you've been smoking, you've been doing whatever, that doesn't leave you. You still feel it, and you take yourself out of the situation, and lo and behold, the next day you find out that there was a whole situation that you avoided. That is a good example of your inner guide. Your inner guide might prompt you to leave a job. Like it might just compel you. Like you might have, and I had this in my life where it reached a point. I was dissatisfied in this job for quite a while, but there was a moment where it's like I have to strike, I have to act now, and it told me that, and I did, and I left. Right, and that's so that's the kind of thing. It's a feeling. It's a very, very subtle feeling. So a good practice in your life is to continue to trust and to continue to listen to this inner guide, because it will guide you in the right direction always. And a lot of anxiety that people feel, or shame, or guilt, or some kind of negative emotions, or low vibrational emotions that people feel, are when they quote unquote betray their inner guide by maybe using their mind, using their ego, using their kind of desire to override the message that came from the inner guide. And this is best known in like kind of relationships, where you might have had that message from your inner guide. You might have had that message to end the relationship, or maybe a boundary had been crossed, and you're like, okay, this doesn't feel right no more. This doesn't feel right. But you stay in the relationship for days, weeks, months, years, and that it kind of eats away at you, because you know what you should have done or should do, and every day is a new opportunity to do it, and you end up beating yourself up and feeling a sense of self-betrayal when you don't trust your inner guide. So it's very important to do that. So when it comes down to like kind of social media content, a good practice is to take things in, listen to them, but do a energy read, and get more familiar with leading with your energy, and reading the room, or reading the vibe, and asking yourself that question: does this resonate? Does this feel good? Is this person, is their intention to support my highest good? Is this person, or are these people, what is their kind of underlying intention? Are they doing it to satisfy their own ego, to make money, to trick me, or to serve me? These are all important questions to ask, because we all, I'd say to a man, take in some kind of short form, long form content, because that's just the way life is today. So it's very important to trust your inner guide when it comes to any information you take in. There's a lot of great information out there. There's information that can put into words what you kind of feel, but you're not quite sure, and it can ground it, and it can solidify it, and it can really crystallize in your body and mind, and allow you to implement good habits, remove bad habits, etc. So there's a lot of good information out there. There's also, obviously, with the way our mind works, we have our dark side, we have our subconscious, we have conditioning, we have patterns, we have thought patterns that we are blind to, that are not necessarily helpful for us. And so information can be shared and taken in to allow us to strengthen our self-inquiry, and then start to see some of those blind spots that are causing problems in our life. So trust your inner guide, always, always, always. It always comes back to that. Even if You have outside pressure from other people. You have expectation on you. You have maybe your mind is playing and thinking and tempting you and saying, no, there's good money in this, or she's pretty hot, or who knows, right? But get in touch with your energy system and get in touch with that feeling. It will never misguide you, and it can save you walking down blind alleys, being lost, making mistakes, and wasting your time and living in vain. Okay, and then when it comes to more spiritual information or higher level information, soul information, it's especially important to always come back to your inner guide, because there's some of the best presented, well polished con artists out there, and manipulators and people looking to feed on your energy are the ones that are able to wrap themselves in spiritual knowledge. I would say most, not all, but most spiritual teachers, spiritual gurus are of this nature, and their underlying intention is to drain your energy, believe it or not. But they are able to use really high level information about chakras, about energy systems, about whatever the case may be, and the listener or the person taking it in feels compelled and drawn to it because it's close to real esoteric knowledge that they know in their heart, and that is part of their soul's growth, so they're drawn to it. But a lot of these people are also speaking from a place of ego. Like, the ego is tricky. The ego is tricky because the ego or the sense of self can kind of take that form as well. Like people take great joy or great satisfaction out of being the spiritual guide, right? And so that it ends up lacking a bit of humility. There's a little bit of distance, separation created between the teacher and the learner. It's very subtle. So watch out for that as well. But it always comes back to the same thing: trust your inner guide. You can take in information from everywhere and anywhere. Like, you're listening to me. You could listen to. There's a lot of gurus out there. It's all, all information is good information when it's passed through the filter of your inner guide, because either you take it and learn from it and implement it, or you understand, okay, that is not for me. That is for me. That is not for me. So it's all good information. I would always come back to taking in information, content that you basically enjoy. That sparks joy. That is your highest vibration: joy, love, creation. So almost take a stance of radical enjoyment. So if you really enjoy listening to people debate online, people do this online, review films, do that, go for that, because this is the thing, every human being is in some essence a spiritual teacher when you can learn from them and pass information through your own inner guide, because it helps sharpen your sword and helps you practice pulling back or coming back to your own inner guide. So your mother and your father, spiritual teachers. Your children, probably the best spiritual teachers, children and animals. Film directors, movie stars, athletes, content creators, Buddhists, Sikhs, Muslims, you name it. Your neighbour, the crew of Love Island, Love is Blind, autistic people, disabled people, all of them, because they all are humans, they're all expressing their own humanity in some way, shape or form, even if they're expressing lower vibration or negative emotion. So if you're able to create that distance a little bit and be an observer rather than a participant, you learn from all of them. But again, come back to it, all the information you take in through observation, through listening, all the information you take in, run it through the filter of your own inner guide, and always come back to your inner guide. If your inner guide, sometimes, like the party example, it can be quite loud, and it's protecting you from danger, and it's easy to listen to it in that moment, and you do, and you say, oh, I'm glad I got out there, and there's obviously situations where they don't get out of there and they get into trouble and like, I should have listened to my gut, I knew I should have left. Those ones can be quite loud. It's the subtler ones that you've got to practice getting in touch with and learning to listen to. The relationship one, that's a very subtle one, and that's an easy one to override because you have love, adoration, respect for the person you're with. But sometimes even if that is the case, you're supposed to part ways and take different paths, and the relationship has nourished you as much as it can, and you're ready to move on. That might just be the case, and no love is lost. But your inner guide might say, well, it's over, stop dragging it out. And you've got to listen to it. And I say that as someone that has many times not listened to mine, and still on the path of practicing listening to mine in every moment. And it's instantaneous. The closer you can get to instantaneous response to your inner guide, even better. Like you might still be in a good situation if you have the signal, and 3 months down the road you make the decision and you think about it and you deliberate on it, and that still might not be a problem, but it might be a problem. So that's the message today of the video. Trust your inner guide. It will never do you wrong. It will always guide you in the right direction. I need a haircut. And yeah,